guys, welcome back to a case of econ struggles. Today we're going to talk about market structures. Specifically, we're talking about perfect competition and price determination in a perfectly competitive market. Timestamps are below, but let's go ahead and get right into it. First, we're going to talk about the characteristics of a perfectly competitive market. So in a perfectly competitive market, you have many sellers, almost an infinite number of sellers. Each of those sellers is selling something that's very similar. It's a good so similar, we call it a commodity, that you can't really tell who made it. So for example, I like to think of milk. If you're in the grocery store and you just have a bunch of gallons of milk, you can't really tell which milk was made by which farmer unless it says on the label. So that would be something that might be close to a perfectly competitive market. In that milk market or in any perfectly competitive market, there is no market power by any of the firms. They're price takers, and each firm is maximizing their profit given the market price or the price that prevails in the market. The perfectly competitive market is going to involve our friends, the demand and the supply curve. So let's just go over those super briefly and think about what it means. So the demand curve in a market, right? Each of these points on the demand curve, so like this orange point here, this is the number of units or number of gallons of milk all people in this market are willing to buy at that price. And on the supply curve, this point indicates the number of gallons of milk that the farmers total in the milk market are willing to sell at that price. And so the supply line is really just the set of all these points put together, where each point is you give me a price and I'll tell you how much milk will be supplied by the market. The demand curve also just a set of points where each point is just the number of gallons of milk that people are willing to buy total in the market. So when we move down to the total market, we have that same supply and demand curve. Again, no one has market power, so the price is given by the intersection of supply and demand. So here's this P star, here's this Q star, and now when we go from the market to a specific supplier, which we have in this upper corner here, you can see that they just take this price as given. That's why it's a horizontal line at P star equals marginal revenue. We know when we're doing profit maximization, we're setting marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Here's the marginal cost curve right here. So this green point here is where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Notice that a farmer given by this graph would be willing to supply milk at any price above this marginal revenue curve. So this marginal cost curve above the price is their long run supply curve. Notice I also have this average variable cost curve in here. That's because in the short run, we've talked about it, I'm willing to operate for sort of a loss. So this portion of the supply curve or the marginal cost curve here between the average variable cost and the price, I'm willing to supply this in the short run, but if this persists for too much longer, then I am going to exit the market. If we look at a different supplier, so here's maybe supplier 2, notice that their marginal cost never touches the marginal revenue or the price line. Their average variable cost also is always above the price or the marginal revenue, which means that this supplier is not even in the market at all. They don't come in even for a short term. They never enter the market. They don't supply milk to the market. So hopefully this gives you an overview of how a perfectly competitive market works and how the price is determined. If this was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time for another case of econ struggles.